We are here in Shoreditch, in the most glorious city of London, and we're about to play some Far Cry Primal. So, cut to gameplay, and you should hopefully, if the video editors do their job, hear the thoughts of Dory and myself who have been playing the game.
So yeah, thanks for that, Mike. Now we're here after having played the game, and I'm sitting here with Mike. So, let's start it off. First impressions.
I liked it, but with the caveat that I liked the Far Cry formula. I liked 3, I liked 4, I mostly liked Blood Dragon. I thought this was, when I first heard about this, I thought it was going to be a Blood Dragon type side project, and I've actually been really impressed by the scope of the offering. And I like the setting, probably because I like the bow so much. And for me, because the bow is such an essential part of the Far Cry experience, actually losing the weapons, losing the cars, and going back to that prehistoric setting isn't going to be a huge wrench for me as a player. That's quite often. I will pick up a gun when I'm out of arrows, but I rely heavily on the bow for my gameplay experience, and so I don't feel like the transition's going to jar at all. What about you?
I mean, yeah, judging from what we played today, and it should be said, of course, it is pre-beta gameplay that we're playing. It was a closed-off chunk. So, for me, playing a Far Cry game can be done in 2 possible ways. One is going through all the story missions, focusing on that, with a huge story. And the other is, running around, crafting, hunting, doing side quests and all that. And it seems to me, from what we played today, that they've basically taken that second approach and basically made that the game. I mean, there were a couple of story missions that we played. They don't have, the super iconic antagonist like they had in 3 and 4 that we've seen. Of course, there are some, and there is a big story here that we don't really know what is yet, other than that you're moving into this valley, getting your tribe together, and kind of battling it out against 2 tribes. But it seems like they've taken more the core gameplay and kind of focused more on it in terms of the combat, the hunting, the crafting, and all that.
So yeah, I mean, I do hope there is a story, because I have always enjoyed kind of fleshing out my experience around the story. So I will quite often kind of take part in the side quests and do the crafting and kind of increase my ammo capacity and all that kind of stuff on the periphery of the story. So I don't think they're kind of stripping away that element completely. I'm pretty sure that they will. I mean, there's two antagonists.
Yeah. What I meant was just like it seemed to be more focus. At least, like I said, from what we played.
Well, yeah, I mean, just from we only played the opening of the game, but from what we saw, there was some cutscenes, but it was more about introducing you to the mechanics and the systems. So the missions were kind of really focused on exploration and kind of feeding you the little bits of information that you need to most people who play Far Cry will already know about. You'll know about the towers. Well, and they're not towers here, they're campsites that you have to liberate.
But yeah, speaking of those mechanics, let's touch quickly upon the new stuff and what we played. You start off the protagonist. You come into this valley. You set up a camp in a cave. Basically, you're starting to build up your tribe. And then you go off, you complete missions, you go out and you try to get succinct story characters and save them and get them back to your camp by completing missions for them. Then you can upgrade through them to get more skills in certain areas. Like the shaman that we brought back, he gave us the ability to tame beasts. You could tame an owl and fly around. And actually, in every kind of Far Cry game, it's always like you go through a drug-induced vision when you get the owl and you're flying around. It's like, yeah.
It's Far Cry. You know, that's their shtick, isn't it? They love the psychedelic drugs. And you know, to be fair, I kind of got an Assassin's Creed 3 vibe from the owl bit. And I'm not sure if I like it. That mechanic. I'm reserving judgment on that one because it does kind of dip into the realm of fantasy, and that's not to say that that's a bad thing. I'm just not sure yet.
For me, it kind of felt like a mechanic to replace the wingsuit and flying around in the other games. Now, okay, you still need to get like an overhead view, so now we give you an owl to look around.
Yeah, but whether that's gonna kind of jar me out of the moment, let's be honest, Far Cry is not a realistic. It's not a it's not a hunter simulation. It's an action game. It's a balls out, big guns, explosions, action game. Tons of systems interlinking, kind of loads of kind of player governance over kind of moment to moment gameplay. Now, they have stripped out a lot of the kind of tools that we're used to using in the game, and what they've placed them with feels natural, albeit slimmed down. Whether this, I mean, the beast taming thing, I get that, and that's a step that, yeah, is not realistic in any way, shape, or form, but it's a step that I can take within the fiction of the world. I'm just not sure about taking control of an owl yet. We'll see. I
kind of like that system, especially right after that mission. We went out and we tamed a wolf, and then you could kind of sick him on the enemy, and then we found out in an interview later that later on you can, for example, what you do is you throw out bait, and then you approach the animal while it's eating, and then you tame it if it's tameable. And then later on you can unlock a skill where you can ride the animal, so you'll be able to ride a saber-toothed tiger and thereby replacing, vehicles.
If I can't ride a woolly mammoth, I'm gonna be upset.
Yeah, the crafting, very similar to the last two Far Cry games. You basically you kill everything inside, you pick everything that glows up, and then you can, after you've leveled up enough, you'll be able to make certain weapons, spear, club, bow, etc.
I mean, the DNA is there. It felt like a Far Cry game. There was no disguising the fact that that's exactly what it is. The setting works. It looks great. It plays like a Far Cry game, with the caveat of minus the guns and all that kind of stuff.
Like Far Cry without the guns.
With extra spears. It looks good. And we'll have to wait and see how the new systems and the new mechanics that they're adding in, the Beastmaster one that we've kind of discussed being the kind of the specific one. We're going to see how that kind of affects the overall experience. It might well be, I mean, we just played a 3-hour session just now, and it might be that felt out of place there, but that might be an important glue that holds it all together over a 25-hour playthrough. So we'll have to wait and see. But I've got high hopes for this one. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah. I'll just add finally, when the first game was first announced and people were speaking gobbledygook, I wasn't sold that they were speaking like a made-up language. Here in the cutscenes, the performance of the mocap actors, it worked for me. Even though, I'm reading subtitles and I can't understand what they're saying, the emotion came through, and I think they've done some really nice stuff with the how they mocapped. You feel like there's a connection between the character and, who's talking to him. So, yeah.
And we've got an interview with the cinematic director, and he actually goes into a bit of detail about that, so make sure you check that out.
Yes. Hope you like the gameplay and our thoughts. See you next time.